happening, Turbo Toys here. Alright! But you can call me Turbo, and today I'm going to show you some recent customs that I've done, so without wasting too much of your time, let's get into this one. Right, this is my second attempt at making this one, and this time around I've opted for the Screaming Head skin. Now, I did previously make one with a non-expressive scan that come out on the actual official one, and I do normally say that I'm not a big fan of open mouth expressions on these type of figures, but I've got to say boys, I feel this scan shows all the characteristics in making this work perfectly for this figure. I had previously designed all the details the best I could to replicate what was on the original figure, including the back tattoo and the One Warrior Nation logos on both of his arms. I also recreated the Warrior logo on the front and back of his trunks, as well as put the logo on both of his knee pads. Also this time around they used the material for the tassels rather than using the rubber plastic that comes on the original, just for something a bit different. And then finished off by painting the tassels on the boots, and I love how this one looks displayed. Perfect! Right, now jumping straight in with another Warrior. Now this one is a massive tribute to the Series 3 Hasbro Ultimate Warrior, an absolute classic and a really good looking figure. And I really liked when I got a message on Instagram saying that this was kind of like the LA Lakers Ultimate Warrior, but everything on this figure was done to replicate how everything looks on the Hasbro figure. From the tassels on the boots and the knee pads with the logos, to the trunk designs both front and back, to the simplicity of the face paint, and I really like how the yellow and purple make this figure really stand out. And I'm actually getting parts together to try and make the Series 2 Hasbro figure, so I think that would be really interesting. But are there any classic Hasbro figures that you'd like to see Mattel make? Let me know in the comments. But I did really like how this figure turned out. Right, moving on, I did a version of a previous custom I did of the Fantasy NWO Shawn Michaels attire. Right, we'll start with a head scan. Now, I moulded and casted a scan from his Ultimate Edition figure because I felt that scan was just the kind of look I wanted to go for, especially with how his hair looked. Perfect! So I painted up a casted head scan and added detail like the stubble, and I feel that this adds such a unique feel to the HBK concept. I felt like the body choice was very important too, so I opted for a different kind of torso that you'd normally find on a figure like Seth Rollins. Because I feel like, especially in the late 90s and early 2000s, it actually suits him a lot more than the standard cruiserweight style torso that we normally get given on our HBK figures. I then applied some body hair decals, gave his tights the high waistband, applied the rest of the NWO decals front and back of his tights, and gave him the boot design he wore from the early to mid 2000s. Perfect. And in my opinion, I think the overall look of this figure was a much better outcome compared to the previous custom version that I did. But I want to know what you guys think. Let me know what you think of this one. Right, we're going to jump back to the early 90s now with this version of the Heartbreak Kid from his early singles run. Now this is based around the early 90s, and I dare say that Mattel at some point are going to release this figure. Alright! They have previously released a version just like this in their Ringside Collectibles exclusive line. And in the year 2022 they've been really hot on the releases of Shawn Michaels, so at some point they're going to need to rely on an attire just like this one. Now for the head scan on this figure, I did originally try to mod a Heritage Series Royal Rumble Shawn Michaels, but the person that I made this for, they preferred that I use the Battle Pack head scan and paint the hair a lighter shade of blonde. Now I didn't want to do this because I just felt like it looked too much like that Ringside Collectibles exclusive figure. But at the same time I think it suits this figure perfectly. Remember, trying to be really precise with the decal placement. Next time I do a custom like this, I definitely want to try and do it with the entrance attire. But I must admit boys, I always do love seeing figures and customs of Shawn Michaels from the 1990s. Right boys, you might have already seen this one on my Instagram, but I could not pass up on making another Soul Train Jones Virgil. And if you go back a bit, you know that I did originally make this figure, but I sculpted the waistband and I just didn't really think it looked too good. So I had this idea that I was just going to put a bit of leather around it, just to try it, see what it looks like, and I think it turned out perfect. Perfect! I had previously moulded the head scan before, so this is a cast of that head scan, and then the body and head was painted in to match the tone of the arms. And as for the attire, now it was based off the vintage Hasbro figure, and this time around I painted on wrist tape and used a bit of shade of red. Now I think this go around is flawless. Now I would love to have one more crack at this figure, but do it so I didn't have to repaint the torso. Right, what I want to do boys is show you some customs that reluctantly didn't get recorded for their own videos. Now I hope you enjoy these ones. Alright! a little look through these customs. I didn't have a great deal of time with these, so you must forgive me for some of the grainy footage. But for this video, that's going to do it for this one. And like always boys, if you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate it if you liked, commented and subscribed. Come check your boy out on Instagram and TikTok at Turbo Toys. And until that next video, I will see ya when I see ya.